For centuries, the Bible has told stories that defy reason, miracles that stretch the laws of nature. Yet behind every verse lies a question: did it really happen? The Bible records that the Israelites, after escaping from Egypt, wandered in the desert for 40 years before reaching the Promised Land. Yet according to geography, the distance between ancient Egypt and Canaan, even by the slowest foot travel, measures roughly 250 to 300 kilometers. That's about 11 days of walking. Even a caravan of livestock and children could have made the journey in 2 weeks at most. So why did it take 4 decades? Historians and skeptics have asked that question for centuries. For some, it's the ultimate example of biblical exaggeration, a fable designed to teach a lesson, not a historical fact. Archaeologists have studied the route many believe the Israelites took through the Sinai Peninsula, a vast stretch of desert bordered by the Red Sea and the Mediterranean. It's a barren land, yes, but not impassable. Nomadic tribes have crossed it for thousands of years, surviving with limited water and trade routes. Yet the Bible says more than 600,000 men, not counting women and children, lived there for 40 years, a population that could easily exceed 2 million people. If that were true, there should be traces, pottery, tools, graves, even ashes of old campfires scattered across Sinai. But archaeologists have found little to no physical evidence of a massive Israelite encampment in the wilderness. Some claim that's proof the story was invented. Others argue that time, erosion, and migration erased the signs long ago. But the silence of the sand remains one of history's great puzzles. Biblical records describe manna falling from the sky, water gushing from rocks, and serpents appearing in the wilderness. Satellite imaging has mapped the entire Sinai Peninsula in modern times. What we see today are mountain ridges, sand basins, and valleys carved by ancient rivers long gone dry. Nothing in that terrain would make a 2-week journey take 40 years. Not unless something else was at play. Some scientists propose that the Israelites didn't travel directly north to Canaan at all, that they wandered in circular patterns around the peninsula, perhaps losing direction or being blocked by hostile tribes. Others believe that multiple migrations happened over different centuries, later merged into one story for national identity. But even with those theories, the question lingers. Why would a nation supposedly guided by a divine pillar of cloud by day and fire by night need 40 years to reach a land so close they could almost see it? There's also the issue of logistics. How did millions survive for 40 years in an arid wasteland without permanent water sources or farmlands? Egyptian records from that era mention no refugee nation wandering near their borders. Neighboring civilizations, Moabites, Edomites, and Philistines, left writings about trade and wars, but none mention hosting or fighting a massive nomadic group called Israel during that time. This absence of record adds weight to unbelievers' claims that the story was written long after the events, a national myth crafted to give identity to a people who had once been slaves, not historians. And yet, fragments of pottery with Hebrew markings have surfaced in unexpected regions of Sinai and southern Canaan. Small, debated clues that suggest someone was there. Someone who left Egypt, wandered, and eventually settled in a new land. If the journey truly happened, then 40 years means an entire generation lived and died without seeing their destination. Children were born in the sand. Elders died under the same sky they started beneath. They lived between a promise and a desert. To historians, this represents one of the most haunting aspects of the story. Not the miracle, but the psychology. How does a people continue moving forward when the end seems always near, but never arrives? So the debate continues. The Bible says God led his people by a pillar of cloud and fire. Skeptics say it was simply the mirage of the desert, the illusion of heat, mistaken for divine presence. The faithful say manna fell from heaven. The historians argue it might have been resin from desert trees, a natural sugary substance that appears after rainfall. Two sides, one story, one seen through science, the other through faith. Thousands of years later, the sands of Sinai remain silent, keeping their secrets. No clear evidence, no undeniable proof. Only questions scattered like the footsteps of a forgotten people. For some, the story of the 40-year journey is a lie, an impossible exaggeration. For others, it is proof that time itself can become a teacher. But whatever the truth may be, the desert remembers. What do you think?